Audio Jungle. Teen among three shot in Olympic Way midday attack. A 14-year-old girl is among three people who were shot in a brazen midday attack in the intersection of Hill Avenue off Olympic Way on Thursday. Reports are that around 12:30 p.m., the young girl was among a group of individuals gathered at a stall in the area when two armed men approached on foot and opened fire. The teenager was shot in the head. The other two men were also shot and injured during the incident. All three victims were rushed to hospital, however, their conditions are unknown. Police are investigating. Woman shot dead in St. Elizabeth. Woman was shot dead in the vicinity of a bar in St. Elizabeth on Wednesday night, leaving residents and a political representative there shocked and puzzled. A source identified the woman as Letitia Green, otherwise called Lottie, a bar operator and resident of Tree Street in Littis District. Preliminary reports are that sometime before 10 p.m., the woman was near in the bar in Nain when a gunman attacked her, opened fire, hitting her multiple times. A man was also wounded in the gun attack. The victims were taken to hospital, where Green was pronounced dead and the man admitted for treatment. Police statistics show that this incident increases to 4 the number of people murdered in St. Elizabeth so far this year. Councillor Linton Smith, People's National Party, Mansfield Division, expressed concern following the incident. The murder in the division last night comes as a surprise. We have to look at what is happening to make sure that we can keep the murder rate down, he stated. Murder is declining within the country, but we in St. Elizabeth, we can't afford to have it going up again. We are calling on the police to do some thorough investigation and see if they can get to the bottom of this murder, he added. He said the incident is very worrying. It is a shock to the community because nobody was looking for this. Things were quiet for months. Nobody heard anything about any violence within the area, and all of a sudden, this comes out of nowhere, so it is really a cause for concern, he noted. Police maintain strong presence in Walton Park following fatal shooting of alleged gangster. The Jamaica Constabulary Force says it continues to maintain a strong presence within communities in and around Walton Park in St. Andrew following the fatal shooting of an alleged gangster. Dead is Swakal Punal, otherwise called Trackstar, of Content Avenue, Kingston 10. Police say he was a high-ranking member of the 7S gang. It is reported that Trackstar was also a person of interest in several incidents, including a quadruple murder in Kingston 10 on November 25, 2024. The JCF says the 7th gang, which operates in sections of Walton Park, has issued threat to reprisal in response to Trackstar's death. Speaking with reporters, Area 4 Commander Assistant Commissioner of Police Michael Phelps said his officers are not deterred by any threat and are equipped to defend themselves. He said despite the threat, residents have been able to move about freely.
We continue to maintain optimum police presence in and around the general Walton Park Road area because this is an area that we have seen an upsurge in crime coming from last year, and we are doing some monitoring within the space. We had a fatal shooting yesterday, and against that we saw where Intel was reporting some alleged threats by some gang members to attack police officers, and we are in the area trying to at least maintain some assurance to the law-abiding citizens within the community, and of course to let these gangsters know that we are not deterred by any threats that they might want to send at this time, because we are more than prepared to defend ourselves using all lawful means against any threat force within these areas. Well, we have been in the area and we're not picking up that there is any fear from the residents. People are able to move about freely, and this is something that we will not disrupt. We'll continue to allow them to have free passage of way and to do their usual activities.
Portmore pause. Director of Elections Gaspar Brown on Wednesday made it clear that it will take some time for electoral boundaries to be sorted in the new parish of Portmore and St. Catherine. According to Brown, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica ECJ, of which he is a member, is unable to give a timeline as to when the boundaries for the country's 15th parish and the realigned St. Catherine will be placed. Addressing Parliament's constituency bordering committees, Brown indicated that the process for the new constituencies is detailed and involved. The committee members would agree that it's a tremendous amount of work, and we at the ECJ have just started doing our work. We have not yet agreed upon a timeline. Certainly, when we come back before the Boundaries Committee on the 31st of May, we'll be able to provide you with a more definite timeline when the process will be completed, Brown offered. He had earlier detailed the work that is involved while explaining that the transfer of the constituency boundaries is guided by Section 67 of the Constitution. Brown told the committee that the ECJ has already established an interface between it and the Boundaries Committee, having received instructions from the committee. In turn, the ECJ has written to the Minister of Local Government asking to be finished with the new boundaries for the redefined of St. Catherine Parish. He said relevant technology is already being applied and the fieldwork is about to commence regarding the new boundaries, which will lead to the creation of relevant maps. The ECJ guideline, as was agreed on by the Commission, should be for the boundaries aligned, will guide the way we proceed going forward, stated Brown. The Director of Elections explained that the key step involved the establishment of a formal procedure for reaching and recording agreements, along with the establishment of the Parish Boundary Forum, PBF. The PBF will be chaired by a senior returning officer from the parish who will be appointed by him. The PBF, according to the guidelines, will be supported by a Parish Boundary Advisory Committee, PBAC, which will be placed also by the chairman by a senior returning officer from the parish and similarly appointed by the Director of Elections, stated Brown. The ECJ will provide the necessary guidance and GIS technology support as well as electronic and paper mapping throughout the process. According to Brown, the following will also be undertaken: 1. PBF to convene charts based on the agreement structure, and PBAC task to begin to conduct fieldwork to realign the constituency boundaries, reconfigure the electoral divisions, and also write the constituency and polling division PD descriptions. Brown explained that the fieldwork will take two primary objectives. First, we must investigate in the field the new St. Catherine and Portmore parish boundaries. To achieve this accuracy, our team will be physically walking the boundaries, accompanied by guides and key stakeholders. Secondly, it is critical that we do that work. We capture the GPS, Global Positioning System, coordinates for the new polling division boundaries within the parishes of St. Catherine and Portmore, he noted. The Electoral Office of Jamaica EOJ boss said to establish these boundaries necessitate a number of changes encompassing splits and mergers for existing polling divisions. It also will require the renumbering and potential renaming of St. Catherine constituencies affected by the alignment. It will also be required to the renumbering of Association of St. Catherine Electoral Division, followed by the renumbering of polling divisions within those affected constituencies, and it has to be agreed upon the official naming and numbering of the three designated Portmore constituencies. Brown said the process will also require the renumbering of electoral divisions that now constitute parts of Portmore. The process will also require the writing of descriptions for all impacted PDs to reflect the changes agreed upon. These steps, the Commissioner stated, will ensure that new electoral maps is accurately defined and implemented both geographically and administratively, stated Brown. He told the committee that the two major political parties will be required to submit written proposals. Hopefully, agreement can be reached by all members of the PBAC. Where there is disagreement, consultation will take place between the nominated commissioners of the ECJ and the Director of Elections. Following that, the preparation of a final draft of realignment for submission to the PBF for the signing will take place, Brown further noted. He underscored the Member of Parliament MPs and constituency caretakers will also have to sign off on the new constituency boundaries, the electoral divisions, and the numbering of the PDs. This agreement will be submitted to the ECG, and if admitted without any change by the Commission, then we'll move forward with preparing a report that will be submitted to the Boundaries Committee, Brown noted. If approved by the committee, the new electoral boundaries will be gazetted. The ECJ will then communicate the effective date of the alignment, after which voters' list will be updated to reflect the new information. The opposition People's National Party PNP has taken legal actions to challenge the process, which the government of Jamaica (JLP) is using to establish Portmore as Jamaica's 15th parish. Last month, the Chief Justice ruled in favor of the PNP's application for an injunction to stop the government from bringing the act into force before complying with the requirements from Section 67 of the Constitution. In response, both parties claim the ruling supports their position. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.